This recovered file contains the final verified activity inside the Black Creek cabin before the narrator went missing. Portions have been reconstructed. This is entry number 07. The night my name wasn't my own. I didn't sleep after the last entry. Not really. If I did, it wasn't the kind of sleep a person wakes up from. Because the moment I closed my eyes, I heard my own voice whisper, "Are you still there?" And that's when I realized something terrifying. The forest hadn't just been repeating me, it had been recording me. 12:14 a.m. The first call. My phone rang. No number, no caller ID, just unknown. I shouldn't have answered, but fear makes you curious, or stupid, maybe both. When I pressed the phone to my ear, I heard myself, breathing, not steady, not natural, wet, ragged breathing like someone struggling to swallow their own air. And then my own voice said, "Let me in." But I wasn't speaking. My lips weren't moving. It was the forest. It was using my voice like a costume. I threw the phone to the floor. The call kept going. 12:32 a.m. Something in my footsteps. I walked into the living room, trying to gather myself. The old floor creaked under my feet. But then I heard a second set of footsteps. Not behind me, not beside me, inside my footsteps. Like something stepped exactly when I did, perfectly synced. I froze, and the second set of footsteps stopped a fraction of a second later. A lag, like an echo trying to catch up. Then a whisper behind my ear. Closer. I spun around. Nothing. But when I looked at the floor, there were two sets of footprints. One set was mine. The second was longer, thinner, pointed at the toes. A shape that didn't walk like anything I know. 1:07 a.m. The spiral that grew. The carved spirals on the walls had been changing for days, but tonight they weren't symbols, they were moving. A faint groan of wood bending filled the cabin, as lines inside the spirals stretched outward like veins growing beneath the bark. Then, without warning, the newest spiral split. The 5 branching arms separated, and a 6th arm began forming. Long, crooked, unnatural. The wood bulged outward, as if something on the other side was pushing its way through. I stepped back, and the bulge in the wall exhaled, a warm, humid breath against my face. 1:44 a.m. The mirror calls back. I didn't want to look, but mirrors in this cabin feel like traps, like openings. The crack down the center had widened since entry number 06. Now, each half of the reflection was slightly misaligned. When I approached, the left side moved normally. The right side didn't blink, didn't breathe, didn't follow my movement. Instead, the wrong half leaned forward on its own. It placed a hand on the glass, skin pale, fingers too long. I didn't move, but the reflection whispered, "You're not you anymore." Both sides smiled, but only one of them belonged to me. 2:03 a.m. The door opens. I heard my name again. Not whispered this time, not mimicked, spoken, commanding, sharp, as if said by someone standing right outside the cabin door. It said my name, then open it. My entire body went cold. Something pressed against the other side of the wood. A slow, dragging push. Not pounding, not forcing. Just a steady pressure, testing the boundary. Wood splintered. The top hinge bent. The door inhaled. Yes, it inhaled. A deep draw of air like lungs expanding. And then the voice said, "If you won't come outside, we'll come inside." The pressure stopped. Silence swallowed the room. That was somehow worse. 2:39 a.m. The shadow without a body. I heard movement behind me, like fabric brushing the floor. When I turned, a shadow stood on the wall. No body, no source, just the shadow. It lifted an arm. I watched its silhouette hand rise slowly, each finger bending backward as if breaking. Then the shadow pointed at me. The room darkened around the edges. My ears rang loudly enough to vibrate my skull. Then the shadow mouthed a single word. Mine. I staggered back and tripped over something, my own shadow, because it wasn't attached to my feet anymore. It was a few inches off, lagging, trying to catch up, trying to take my place. 3:12 a.m. The forest moves. The fog outside thickened, so dense it looked like water, and within it the trees leaned closer in unison, not crawling, not creeping, stepping, trunks bending like joints, roots lifting like feet. The forest walked toward the cabin. Every tree, every trunk, every shadow between them. I could hear the soil shifting under the weight. The ground groaned. Branches scraped the outer walls. Something whispered in the fog. Come home. 3:27 a.m. My name is gone. I returned to the table where my open notebook lay. The page that once held my name was blank, not erased, missing. The name was carved into the wood of the table now, deep, jagged, fresh. Then another carving appeared beneath it, slowly, as if written by an invisible hand. We will use it now. My chest tightened. Breathing became impossible for a moment. My name, the one thing that tied me to myself, was no longer mine. The forest had taken it. 4:01 a.m. Final recording. This part of the audio was nearly destroyed, but a few fragments were salvageable. Inside the walls, shadow following, voice behind my mouth. Can't tell which one is me. And the final clear sentence before the recorder cut. It knows how to open the door. A loud crack follows, splintering wood, a long inhaling sound, footsteps rushing inward, then silence, only silence. End of entry, number 07. No physical sign of the narrator was found, just the recorder, the notebook, and the table carved with their name. The forest around the cabin was still shifting when investigators arrived. If the forest learns your voice, it will learn your name. Subscribe before the next recovered entry is found.